I just wanted to make a quick video about this assisted dying bill and the voting on it, right? Because, like, I've actually got a really strong legal claim on it now, and I hope that something happens from that claim. I had a previous claim purely on religious grounds, law of religious grounds, but I hadn't even looked at the Human Rights Act. But the Human Rights Act literally makes it that it's not even possible to do it, that you can't even do it, right? But I haven't actually really been on Jamie Stone's Facebook, right? He's the chair of the Petitions Committee. I don't really go on any MP's Facebook pages, really, but I did go on Jamie Stone's, and it just happened to be by chance that I went on Jamie Stone's Facebook page at the time when he said he was going to go vote, right? But maybe I obviously didn't read clearly, but I was going from what other people were saying in the in the comments, right? And I got the impression from his Facebook page, obviously, clearly I didn't read it properly, unless he's changed his mind. But it sounded like he wasn't seeing he wasn't going to see any of his constituents. He cancelled all his meetings because he was going to vote on assisted dying. But I thought that he was going to vote in favour of assisted dying, right? But it turns out they might have voted against it. But from what I'd looked on his page, I thought it looked like, from what I read on his Facebook, that he was in favour of it. So I don't know what happened there, if I just totally misunderstood it, or if other people in the comments kind of like just their general chatter was sort of like misleading me on what Jamie's opinion was. Obviously, I clearly weren't professional enough to properly look at it properly. I think maybe he did change his mind, I don't know. So I actually thought he supported it, and I was quite disappointed when he supported it. But here it says that Jamie Stone, Liberal Democrat MP for Caithness, Sutherland and East Ross, voted against the terminally ill 3 adults bill in its second reading. Based on available voting records, he was one of the Liberal Democrats MPs who opposed it, and also did Ed Davey Ed Davey abstained from voting. So it's still not giving us the results. I'm sure on his page that it looked like that he was supporting it, and because he was so keen to go down and vote on it. But I didn't know. I didn't think that he was voting against it. I'm sure I looked at some of his material on his page, and he seemed to be in favour of it. But I don't know. Maybe he was like on the wall about it. Maybe he wasn't that, like, full on supportive of it at all. Maybe he was kind of like. Maybe he did sort of like. Maybe he was like sort of exploring supporting it. Maybe that's why I got it wrong. Maybe he was like discussing either way. Maybe it was just a bit of discussion about potentially supporting it, but then he decided not to, right? So there was the way that the website, I think it was the BBC website, put the figures. It did them all like page by page, like went through all 650 odd MPs. So like I've had to put them in 2 posts here, right? Here's the image. The image there at the top, that's like for and against. So they didn't. It wasn't like it wasn't like proper neck and neck voting exactly, but it wasn't like a huge number of the House against and very little for. So we've got there was quite a few people who abstained from voting. Those people who had abstained from voting, if they had voted against, could have stopped the bill. But obviously, if they voted for, it would have been much more of a majority. But a lot of Tories voted against it. And actually, to be honest, quite a lot of Labour voted for it, but also still quite a lot of Labour voted against it. I don't really think they knew what they were doing. I don't think they understood the law properly. Andrew Bridgen said that a lot of MPs say they just follow orders, and they don't really know what they're voting for sometimes. Apparently, they were all given a free vote on it. They didn't have to follow their whips or what their party said. But if they can do that, why didn't they just say did the actual parties all say that, or did the House say that? And if the House can say that, why don't the House say that every time they vote, right? And just say, everyone can vote how they want all the time, if the House has got the power to do that, right? I don't know why, if it was just one party said, we can vote whatever. But the fact is that bill can't be lawful. It can't be legal. And if Labour would have made all their members vote for it, then would Starmer have been responsible for everyone breaking the law? If they'd have voted the way that he said, would he be the responsible party, right? So there was like a fair few who didn't vote at all. The interesting thing is that Ed Davey is in those who didn't vote. That's interesting. He didn't vote either way for or against. Did those MPs who didn't vote at all, did they like in their minds think that it's not lawful? But if they did, why didn't they speak out about it? Why weren't they more vocal about it? Why didn't they try and get legal action, you know? Or did they feel like they disempowered, that they couldn't do anything about it? Well, Ed David didn't vote either way, supposedly, and neither did, there was like at least a dozen Labour who didn't vote at all either way. And that Lisa Nandy, who's meant to be dealing with like heritage, you know, and sports and things like that, she didn't vote either way either. She didn't vote at all. But unfortunately, like both of the Labour MPs who were the law officers, like, you know, the police minister and the Solicitor General, they both voted in favour of it, which is quite disappointing because I'm challenging them on some law at the moment on privileges, and I don't think they know it properly. I think they have to learn it, and I don't really think they properly understood the implications of the assisted dying bill legally, which is quite disappointing, seeing that they're the law officers, right? All that Tony Vaughan voted in favour of it. He's Labour, but he's a KC King's Counsel, and he's on the Petitions Committee. That Ben Goldsborough was on the Petitions Committee, voted against it. I'm disappointed that Tony Vaughan on the Petitions Committee voted in favour of it when he's a KC King's Counsel. You'd have thought he would have known the law properly and understood Article 2 is quite explicit. It's not like, it's non-negotiable. It's not like there's no proportionality in it. It's just like you can do this, but you can't do that. There's no proportionality in it at all when it comes to, like, you know, civil versus criminal proceedings. You can't have civil proceedings. So maybe we can. I just thought there was some interesting names on here when we're looking through them all, who voted for or against it. I don't know all of them. See, Lee Anderson voted against it, right? Lee Anderson voted against it, but also Nigel Farage voted against it as well. But Sarah Pochin voted for it. Now, I think that's quite interesting and worth talking about because, you know, aren't Reform supposed to be the new party, and they've got these policies that they all agree to, and they're all like clear on certain things. That's the whole point in having the party and doing something new and different. And then Nigel Farage was really behind Sarah Pochin, wanted to stand for reform, but it turns out that she's in favour of assisted dying, yet Lee Anderson and Farage aren't at all. So, to me, even though they were given the free vote on it and told not to do what the party said, it reveals that reform, actually on something very, very significant like the assisted dying, have very different views within their party, right? You know, does that not say that maybe they should be independent people? So I thought that was something worth mentioning and worth talking about. I was quite surprised that Sarah Pochin voted the other way to Farage and Ty. She clearly has very different views on very quite serious issues like that. I don't think Sarah Pochin is very experienced in the law or legal things either, really. I mean, but who am I to talk? You know, I'm not a King's Counsel, right? But I'm definitely calling them out on a lot of things to do with like petitioning and privileges, which they've overlooked and even made false statements on and stuff. So, you know, some of these MPs don't have a legal background anyway. So, I mean, anyone who decides that they want to learn these things and read up on them can, you know, have as much experience as MPs or not. They didn't have a petitions committee before 2015, not since the 1970s, before I was born. So the current petitions committee, I've only had as much time. In fact, 2013, I've been interested in it for 2 years, and they keep changing the committee, and then there's people aren't on the committee anymore, and then they're doing other things. And remember, they've got to see constituents and travel around. They're not just like constantly, they rely on the clerks to just tell them or brief them or update them or, you know, get the relevant papers out and say, put a box on the table, or these are things you want to read. I had to go find them all myself. I had to learn what they all were and find where the information was. I had to learn where the information was. Clark didn't say, like, this is everything you need to know about it, put on the table, like, you know, read it all and make what you will out of it. But then there was other stuff as well. like, observation of due process for law and all kinds of things like that. So I think that, and also I don't really like reading the more modern reports because I don't think they're correct, and it's upsetting reading them, particularly when they're saying things like, privileges have never been used for criminal matters when clearly they have, like John Pym said. So let's see if we can. I'm not going to do every MP in these. There were just a few interesting ones that I thought was worth mentioning, but I think I've probably mentioned them all already now. That Antonio voted for it. Lewis Atkinson, he's on the petitioners committee. He voted for it. So the Sinn Féin MP, he did not vote at all. That Danny Beales, I've heard of him, he voted for it. That Antonia Bianca, I've heard of her before, she voted against it, she was Labour. Harriet Baldwin voted against. You see, all the Green Party were really in favour of this assisted dying. I'm surprised with that. You see, you've got Sian Berry and Carla Denyer both voted for it. They're really up for this assisted suicide. I don't think that they're that legally knowledgeable when it comes to things like privileges and the law generally. So therefore, when it comes to making legislation, you might have good ideas and innovations and things like that Zach Polinsky does, but can you correctly and properly know the existing law for compatibility reasons, and do they care anymore? I don't think they actually even care whether things are compatible anymore. They hope someone else is going to check it for them rather than find out themselves. See, Suella Braverman voted against it, but she's down as a Tory, but she's converted to Reform now. Suella Braverman voted against it. See, Suella Braverman, she's into this whole, like the women have got all these, like, appreciation societies and fan clubs now, which is a bit odd when you've got elections and things like that, particularly in the lead up to elections, during and after. And if they're going to be doing it all year, what influential effect does that have, on voting in elections? MPs were never celebrities, not in that kind of way, I don't think. Not like pop stars or rock stars, like, fan clubs. Irene Campbell, I think she's on the petitions committee. I'm not sure. She voted for it. I think most of the people on the petitions committee voted in favour of it, except Jamie Stone and that Goldsborough. Jacob Collier, I think he's on it now. I think so, off the top of my head. But he voted for it as well. A lot of these petitions committee people are up for assisted suicide, which is concerning. Cleverly voted against it. See, another Green Party, Ellie Chowns voted in favour. Another Sinn Féin did not vote on it. Pat Cullen. Deputy Speaker did not vote. Should the Deputy Speakers be casting a vote when they're not acting as Speaker? The speaker still like let them have it though. Like when they introduced it and brought it in, he's like, oh yeah, you can have that, right? You know, listen, oh, just a minute. You know, can we even hear this case? Like, is it even possible to make this law? Like, you know, whether or not people want it or don't want it is the only thing that strictly forbids it. You know, you know, it's not that hard to understand Article 2. It's really, I'm very, very surprised that they've managed to get even this far with it, really, to be honest. Corbyn voted against it. See, Ed Davey did not vote. Annalise Dodds voted against it. I think she's from Oxford, but I thought she told she's Labour. Annalise Dodds voted against it. Scottish National Party guy didn't vote. I thought some of the SNPs were sort of in favour of it. Bobby Dean, Lib Dems, he's a London MP, voted for it. See, Carla Denyer voted in favour of it. That's terrible voting from the Green Party. The Green Party really don't actually understand the law. They've got, you know, there's a lot of things that they like to be the law to change it, but I don't actually think that they understand the existing law. And there are people who understand some of the existing law better than me, but I think we've all got different aspects of the law that we understand better than other aspects of it, particularly when it comes to like, you know, words like plaintiff or certain procedures of filling forms in that they've been taught at university, and they know all the different forms and procedures, which I don't know all the forms and procedures and the terminology, but there's some things that they know all that, but there's like fundamental things that they're completely missing out. Rosie Duffield, Independent, voted against it. I think that Rachel Maskell, Independent, voted against it as well, from what I remember. And apparently Angela Rayner voted against it after she'd been to see the Pope or something, right? Scottish Alliance Party voted, or that Alliance Party voted against. I don't know if it's Scottish or not. Another Sinn Féin did not vote. You'd have thought that Sinn Féin would have voted against it, but they didn't vote at all. Do they know that it's not lawful, but why didn't they speak out more? Farage voted against it here. George Freeman did not vote. Mary Foy voted against. She's Labour. That was a good vote. In my opinion, it was. Another Scottish National Party did not vote. Ben Goldsborough, Labour, voted against. He's on the petitioners committee. I think I think Jamie Stern and that guy were the only ones who voted against it on the petitioners committee. Oh, Monica Harding's a Lib Dem. She voted against it. Another Social Democrat didn't vote against it. So they're from the top ones there. Then we've got these other ones here, the rest of them. Diane Abbott voted against it. I think she's the first MP on the list. When you go onto the MPs list, she's like the first person on the list. Although that's not really so what, but enough I'll tell you. So that's Shocker Adam. He's got the worst answering. He's the hardest MP to contact because his phone is terrible. He's got no answering machine or anything. And he voted against it, but he's independent now. I saw he voted against it there. Another Social Democrat Party voted against it. Mike Wood, whoever he is, voted against it. You see, Tony Vaughan here, Labour, voted in favour of it. That's scandalous, that. Tony Vaughan, he's meant to be King's Counsel, he's a barrister. Can't believe that he did not read that Article 2 and so he can't do it, right? He's not, and he's on the Petitions Committee as well, so that's quite concerning. I'm really concerned about these barristers, like, oh yeah, we can do what we want. No, actually you can't. The law says that you can't. Matt Vickers voted against it. Well, Tice voted in favour of it. Wow, so Tice actually voted in favour of it. I wouldn't have thought Tice would have voted for genocide. That's very interesting. So Lee Anderson voted against it, Farage did, but Sarah Putchin and Tice voted in favour of it. Tice surely can't understand the law that proficiently either, clearly. I'm quite surprised with that vote. Another independent there voted against it. Is anyone else on the Petitions Committee? Probably missed some of them out, like Paul Davis. I would have thought he'd probably voted in favour of it, I guess. Andrew Snowden, whoever he is, voted against it. Ben Spencer, whoever he is, voted against it. Patrick Spence. Oh, so Patrick Spence is now independent. He's not a member of the Labour Party. He voted against it. But the other guy who got prosecuted, not Patrick Spence, Dan Norris, he voted in favour of it. Keir Starmer, there's Keir Starmer, there he is. Voted for it. Supposedly, leader of the Crown Prosecution Service might be protecting life and supposedly one of the most experienced barristers on the government and the King Council as well. And he has blatantly ignored Article 2 and completely ignored and disregarded the law. Scandalous. Absolutely corrupt and scandalous. This whole thing's corrupt and scandal. The whole thing. So there's Jamie Stone, there he is, the chair of the Petitions Committee. I thought that he'd supported it or said that he supported it. Maybe he wasn't sure. Or maybe he was actually really keen to vote against it. But I got the impression from looking at... I'm sure I got the impression on his Facebook page that it appeared like he was supporting it and he was keen to go vote in favour of it. But it turns out that he didn't. He voted against it. Cat Smith was the previous chair of the Petitions Committee. She's voted for it. Labour. Scandalous. I wouldn't put her in charge of legislation of England. I mean, I'm not, I don't think anyone would put me in charge of legislation in England, or I'd want to be, but I'm calling them out on a lot of stuff that I know that I'm definitely right about. I mean, you can scrutinise these people. Don't think I noticed Oliver Dowden on here. Played Cymru voted in favour of it. Absolutely scandalous. Another Social Democrat voted against it. And another. So all these Green Party people are voting in favour of it. Angela Rayner actually voted against it, but only apparently after she'd been to see the Pope or something, which is quite funny. See, I'm really disappointed that Ellie Reeves, being the Solicitor General, voted for it, and she's supposed to be like a solicitor and understand the law. That's disappointing. But also the police minister. But these secretaries of state and ministers keep changing. I mean, 1 minute it was Dame Diana Johnson, and then it's Sarah Jones. They keep changing these police ministers. I don't even know if some of them have even lasted for much longer than 12 months at the moment. Is there anyone else worth mentioning on here who is on some kind of committee or notable? See, there's Sarah Purchin. There she is voting for it. There's a Lib Dem here voting against it. Dan Norris, now he's independent. They've all been. He voted for it. He's been kicked out of Labour as well. Scottish National Party did not vote. That Sarah Onley voted against it. Lib Dem, she voted against it. She seems quite an interesting MP. Priti Patel voted against it, Conservative. I think that's the first time that that's the first thing that Priti Patel's done that I've thought in my head, oh, good on you, Priti Patel, well done. Did not vote. Oh, that's the Deputy Speaker. Lisa Nandy did not vote. Iqbal Mohammed, that's my RMP, voted against it. I know a Lib Dem voted against it, Tom Morrison. An independent voted for it. Catherine McDonald used to be on the petitions committee. She voted against it, actually. I think she's from Newcastle area. There's another reform, and one of those other reform people that I don't know much about, James McMurdoch, voted against it. Someone on Plaid Cymru voted in favour of it there. Paul Maskey did not vote. Sinn Féin. Rupert Lowe, independent, voted against it. Danny Kruger voted against it. He's on reform now. Danny Kruger voted against it. Ben Lake on Plaid Cymru voted for it. Chris Law, Scottish National Party. Chris Law did not vote. But there's someone else called Noah Law who voted. Kim Leadbeater obviously voted for it. Diana Johnson voted for it as well, interestingly enough. See Sarah Jones as well. Why are these women, Labour women, who are all law officers, voting in favour of it? And I don't really think that they properly understand and grasp the law properly. We must be nearly through them now. Wera Hobhouse voted for it. She's a Lib Dem. That's disappointing. that's it. So it quite very interesting, but there's quite a few disappointments in there, especially for people who have got renal qualifications. There was actually some promising results in there.